This essay is called "Offering to Help Might Be the Last Thing Elderly People Want." If you would like to read this essay yourself instead of listening to me read it, you can find it on my Substack via the link in the description. This essay is a bit different from what I usually post on this channel. As you know, I post a lot about how to make peace with your body, to make peace with food, and how to just get a better sense and freedom in who you are, you as a person, as opposed to you as a body, and what that means in today's society. And this essay in particular is about an experience that I recently had that I had to write about to make sense of for myself. I write mostly because it helps me make sense of myself and the things that I'm going through or thinking about. I think a lot. I'm a huge thinker, and I observe a lot of things that come up in my head or the way people behave also around me, and I try to make sense of that. As I often say in my videos, our beliefs are inherited to us often by our parents or caretakers or whatever environment we were exposed to as children. And I often try to question that for myself whenever I observe something or see a situation or even somebody reacts to something that I did or said. I try to kind of make sense of it to see if there's a different way I can look at it. So this essay is basically that, and there's a lot of those to come. I'm still going to be posting about, of course, body image and how to better relate to our body and how to find peace and freedom within our whole being, not just our body. We are so much more than just our bodies and how we look. And so I will continue sharing those videos and writing about these things because they matter a lot to me, and I want to be one of the voices out there promoting that message that you're so much more than just your body and you're so lovable regardless of what you do. But yeah, this is a new direction, and I hope that you will enjoy it as much as I loved writing this. Passport control to the left, the sign above me reads as I make my way through the Berlin airport after a short flight from the UK. Taking the turn, I'm greeted by the neatly placed stanchions directing me to two booths where the border control officers sit, a line already forming in front of them. I zigzag through the lines with a couple of other passengers and come to a stop behind a white back, blocking my view. I poke my head to the side of it and see that I am 2 full lines away from the booth. Not bad, I think to myself. I'll be out of here in no time. 10 minutes later, the lines have not moved, and I'm beginning to suspect that this is going to take much longer than I thought it would. I text my partner, who's on his way to pick me up, letting him know that I will be late to our meeting spot, and open the Kindle app on my phone in an attempt to pass the time. Behind me, a woman's voice is wondering why this line is taking so long. Somewhere in front of the white back, there's a baby crying. I don't blame him. The lines are now full and it's getting hotter by the minute. My back is sweaty against my backpack and my shirt is slowly becoming a bodysuit. To my left, the line for EU citizens is gliding by, giving me hope that our line will move at a certain point as well. A man's voice joins the woman's behind me in complaining, and reading becomes incredibly challenging. 20 minutes later, the line is crawling, and I look to my right at the people passing me by in the opposite direction. I told you there would be something at the border control, a man smugly reminds his wife, who nods patiently as she's fanning her face, taking slow steps in front of him. A man in his 30s is engaged in hushed conversation with, by the similarity in features, his father, their faces unbothered by the long wait as they scan the lines. A woman in her 20s catches my eye and smiles at me. I smile back, and just behind her, I see it. An age-spotted hand gripping one of the stanchions for stability. My eyes travel up the loose skin on the arm and reach a man's face. He's looking at the baby in front of me with a warm smile that only a man who raised babies of his own could have. A father. He places his other hand in front of his eyes, covering them, and then, as swiftly as an old man could muster, removes it as he plays peekaboo with the baby. I notice that I haven't heard the baby crying for a while. A young woman next to him offers him support as she gently ushers him through the line. A daughter. He lets go of the pole and takes slow, measured steps, his hand gliding across the barrier belt, attempting to hold on to something, anything, that could offer a sense of stability. As the distance between us closes in the parallel lines, I lock eyes with him first and then with her, and I ask, "Do you guys want to trade places?" No, the woman mouths, her voice barely audible, her eyes quickly blinking away from mine. "No," the man says as his eyebrows form a frown, his voice a mere whisper, the smile disappearing from his face. "Are you sure?" I persist, now having to turn my head over my right shoulder to keep looking at them. I am met with nothing but the back of their heads. There is no response as they walk away from me, the moving line separating us. My heart is beating fast and my face feels hotter than it was before. I pinched my shirt at my chest, airing the stickiness from my body. For the first time on that long wait, I'm grateful it's hot so that my discomfort will not show. Their reaction wasn't what I thought it would be. They seemed annoyed, even offended. I think to myself, did I do something wrong? My mind wanders to 2 weeks ago when I was standing in line behind an elderly woman at the cash register, watching as she leaned over her shopping cart in what seemed like a great effort to retrieve the last products from the very bottom of it, and with equal effort, placed them on the conveyor belt. I reached to her cart and grabbed a yogurt, bringing it closer to her, to which she shook her head firmly from side to side and voiced a clear, "No, no, thank you." I raised my arm, my palms facing towards her in an "I'm sorry, just trying to help" kind of gesture, and moved back to my place. My memory travels to 9 years ago, when an elderly woman approached me with careful, slow steps at the bookstore I used to work at, asking if we carried a specific book. After searching through the store's inventory, I shook my head with a no and then added, "You know, you don't have to come all the way to the store. You can just call us on the phone and ask," as I handed her a piece of paper with the store's number on it. She said nothing, but I'll never forget the sad look she gave me as she took the piece of paper from me. "They don't like us coming to the store," a customer who heard our exchange offered her. "No," I exclaimed in panic. "I just don't want her to trouble herself by making the trip here." And I left them both standing there, my face hot with shame, too embarrassed to face either of them. Back at the airport line, I wonder why what I think are acts of kindness are sometimes received not just in dismissal, but inconvenience. Throughout the years, I've come to learn that people's reactions to what I think is the right thing to do are varied and sometimes very different from my own. From a mother who thanks me with a smile when I pick up her toddler's hat, to the lady who nods when I hold the door open for her, to the homeless man who looks at me with expressionless eyes and says nothing when I give him a sandwich. I've concluded it's best to relinquish any expectations of gratitude since those might not come. I remind myself that people don't owe me anything for offering help when I think it's right. They can accept it, they can decline it, it's up to them, and it has nothing to do with me. It's the apparent hurt in response to my offers of help that stopped me in my tracks. The frown, the determined headshake, the sad eyes. Days later, when that man's face is still on my mind, a thought comes to me. Maybe when it comes to the elderly, what I think is the right thing to do might not be right after all. Perhaps, in my offers to help, I'm taking away one of the most important things they have, their sense of independence. When I picture elder me, I know with absolute certainty that she'll want to be able to do everything that her once effortlessly capable body did for as long as she can, regardless of how slower and more tedious that endeavor will become. Airport line man could have easily asked the airport staff for a wheelchair or demand to be moved up the line. But he didn't. He stood there just like the rest of us because he had no problem standing there. It was I who had the problem. My question had directed unwanted attention to him, and what's worse, reminded him that he was no longer like the rest of us. And we could tell. Cash register lady could have easily asked a worker to help her out, but she didn't. She had no problem retrieving her products by herself. I was the one who had the problem. My actions probably sent the wrong message. I get a move on, old lady kind of message. Bookstore lady had no problem making the trip to the bookstore. I was the one burdened by the effort I believed it took her to get there. In a society that rewards productivity, hustle, and instant gratification, where a 30-minute wait in an airport line can make us irritated and cause us to start complaining, I see a person taking slow, measured steps, holding on for stability and breathing heavily, and want to help them go faster because I expect that that's what they would want. But once more, I'd like to shift my expectations. Older people through slowness and pain are still out there, still participating, still being. Their movements are a token of a life lived, and a life still being lived. What appears to be fragility to me, something unwanted and feared, is the way of nature, and just like anything in nature, it doesn't need interfering. These people have managed perfectly fine before the point in time in which I meet them. I'd like to trust that that continues to be true in that moment, and in the moments thereafter. They are not waiting for me or anyone to be their voice, to be their hero. And if they are, I trust that they are perfectly capable of voicing that. After all, the majority of encounters I had with elder people that didn't leave me wondering whether what I did was right had one thing in common: an ask, a sentence, a word, a nod, a gesture. Moving forward, I'll do my best to look out for those and pay less attention to my own assumptions of what they need. Because maybe granting the elderly a chance to ask, to speak up before deciding for them, is the kindest thing that we can offer them. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. Whether you are an elderly person, a person who takes care of elderly people, a son, a daughter, I'm really curious to know where you stand on this topic. Let me know in the comments, and again, if you would like to read this article, you can find it on my Substack. The link is in the description. Thank you again for being here. I really appreciate your time, and I'll see you next time. Bye!